morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
Blue skies, white snow, temperature just below freezing, and my good mare Cody is loping across the powdered snowy hillside, and that's about as much fun as skiing. It's been a very pleasant winter in our part of the range, easy on livestock, and we're all hoping it holds through calving season. And in some places, that's already started. This week, you'll hear from a lot of the fine performers who will be at the Kamloops Cowboy Festival coming up in March, including the fine poet from Oregon, Tom Swearington.
What happens in this saddle is a magical display of poetry in motion. Appaloosa Horse Ballet.
And a perennial favorite Texas ranch wife and wonderful Western music singer Jean Prescott. And she'll have some personal stories today about her and her husband, Gary.
Next thing you know, that horse broke in two, and Gary was flying past his face and landed right in front of him on the ground.
Baxter Black, as far as we know, will not be in Kamloops. He just loves it too much around his hometown of Benson, Arizona.
The local radio station is 50 watts, covers 5 square miles, and has a real disc jockey.
Think you'll enjoy what Baxter has to say about small-town life today. And on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear horse training file, I don't want a horse that's bomb-proof or too quiet, and I'll tell you why. The Rangeland News remembers another legend we recently lost from the world of rodeo, and I'll tell you how Billy responded to something that went wrong at the ranch while I was on the road. Jean Prescott talks about a couple of horseback adventures that could have been pretty disastrous for her and Gary after she directs our thoughts to what's coming up very quickly.
The days are getting longer, early spring has shown its face. The mudroom's clean and orderly, supplies are in their place. Then suddenly it happens on a crisp and chilly morn. We go into action, 'cause our first calf is born. It's calving time, we'll be working night and day. We've waited all year long, and we're ready come what may. Life is a cycle, and it happens every year when we put our lives on hold, 'cause it's calving time round here. 2 weeks have passed and all is fine, we've only lost a few. When that blizzard hit last week, was not much we could do. The mudroom needs a scrubbing, there's bottles in the sink. And after what those calves brought in this place, it really stinks. It's calving time, we're working night and day. We've waited all year long, we're ready come what may. Life is a cycle, and this happens every year when we put our lives on hold, 'cause it's calving time round here. Well, another week has passed us by, I have nothing to report, except that sleep and patience are both getting mighty short. You can't get in the mudroom, this place is one big mess. Why anyone would live like this is anybody's guess. It's calving time, we've been working night and day. We've waited all year long, and we're ready come what may. Life is a cycle, and this happens every year when we put our lives on hold, 'cause it's calving time round here. And now, just like those calving cows, we both were slowing down. I'm watching the place today, 'cause hubby's gone to town. He went off to a bull sale, it's like an endless chain. We'll breed those cows for next year, then we'll do it all again. When it's calving time, we'll be working night and day. We'll be waiting all year long, we'll be ready come what may. Life is a cycle and this happens every year when we put our lives on hold, 'cause it's calving time round here. We'll put our lives on hold, 'cause it's calving time round here.
Well, that, of course, is Jean Prescott. Her and Gary run that fine cattle and horse operation near Ovalo, Texas, not far from San Angelo. They've actually been up here at our ranch a few times, and Gary and I actually got horseback together once. Scariest part of that was watching Gary slipping and sliding around on the snow and ice in his slick-soled cowboy boots. A little different than the temperature can be in Texas in the summer.
Oh, it's in the 90s usually from June into July, and then we have some 100 and up, a little over 100-degree days in August. And then it starts cooling back down in September and October.
I understand that you and Gary were part of a celebrity team penning and team roping a little while ago, and some interesting things went on. Can you take us back through there and how that went?
Well, I'll take you back as quickly as I can. We were in the Lubbock, Texas has a National Cowboy Symposium, and on the last day they have a celebrity team penning and team roping. And Gary and I always team up with someone and do the team penning, and then he team ropes. And this year we declared ourselves the comic relief for the celebrity team penning and roping. My horse in the team penning wasn't accustomed to pinning them. He was a roping horse. And
this wasn't your own horse that you took, was it, or was it?
No, actually it wasn't. I borrowed a horse. We don't ever take horses up there. We don't, most of our horses are brood mares now, and so we just go up and borrow something, since it's just a little afternoon and real all in fun and camaraderie and all. So it's not, we're not real serious, I guess is what I'm talking about here. So, but to make a long story short, my horse, I went to cut a steer back to put him back with the rest that we were bringing down, and he ran under my horse's neck, and the poor old horse just reared straight up and just kept rearing up, and it got a little testy there for a few minutes, and then the crowd was entertained.
And you had probably come to that point where you're getting close to the point of no return, and he's up there standing on his back feet, and your feet are maybe in the stirrups yet, but you're wondering if it was time to kick him out.
That's right, exactly. And the stirrups were the big, heavy, wide stirrups, and he was up so straight in the air that I couldn't get my feet kicked back out. And I knew I was in trouble, so there was a lot of praying going on there for a few moments before he finally came on down.
Man.
And Gary missed it. He was off after the cattle, and he just couldn't understand why I didn't get that steer that ducked back.
So he didn't even see your performance.
No, he missed it altogether. Everyone was telling him about it. So
sometimes when you tell him about it, it's not quite the same as if he'd seen it, is it?
No, it certainly isn't.
Well, that was Jean's team penning wreck, and Gary's adventure team roping on a borrowed horse was pretty spectacular, and you'll hear all about it when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. Sometimes when the stars of Western music are somehow coerced to enter a celebrity event like cutting or team penning or team roping, you're putting everything on the line in front of a large and sometimes critical audience. And although George Strait has always done well at celebrity team ropings, and so has Wiley Gustafson, but things didn't go as planned for Gary Prescott, as wife Jean explains.
But then in the team roping, which was next, he caught his steer, but he missed his dally, so he tried to move up and catch the dally, and when he did that, the horse somehow just got all tangled up in the rope and got it up between his back legs and around his front legs, and then they had this little rodeo, and it's kind of like Pete Cash,
Right.
Next thing you know, that horse broke in two, and Gary was flying past his face and landed right in front of him on the ground. So that was the end of Gary's team roping for this year.
Boy, it's just wonderful the extent that you guys will go to entertain the crowd at these events like that.
Well, you just have to do what you have to do when you're entertainers. We just couldn't turn loose of the entertainment aspect of it for one afternoon, I guess.
Right. It gave the whole crowd lots to talk about.
It really did. But we had a good time, and nobody was hurt. And the horse, the roping horse, was fine. He wasn't injured or anything, and so So everybody had some excitement and lots of things to talk about, you know, after the thing was over.
Well, you guys have both had lots of experience in that Texas brush country, trying to bring cattle out of places like that, and that must be something. You know, we hear stories about it up here, about how that brush and mesquite and stuff can just about tear your shaps off, but I just can't imagine what that must be like.
It gets rough. Gary's done a lot more of it than I have, being from down in South Texas, and that's reflected in a lot of his songs.
Well, Jean talks about balancing an entertainment career with running a ranch and a cow-calf operation next. You know, Gary Allegretto, his resume sounds or reads like a men's adventure wish list. Backcountry forest ranger, forest firefighter on an elite hotshot crew, Los Angeles City firefighter, a bouncer in a couple of rough honky-tonks and a blues bar, cowboy and a ranch hand, a beach lifeguard, whitewater rafting guide, and a traveling bluesman. And his accomplishments are also widespread and diverse. He's the recipient of multiple awards for his outreach to kids, and he's also the founding director of Harmonic Kids, a humanitarian organization that gives music therapy with harmonicas to special needs kids around the world, and he's been honored many times for a lot of what he does. He's known as one of the finest harmonica players on the planet, and he will be at the Kamloops Cowboy Festival this year. Here he is from his big hit album, Blues on the Trail.
I never wanted nobody trying to fence me in. If you try to coop me up, some holding pen, I'd say you can't corral me. Cowboys gotta be free. I used to blow across the sage with no direction or care, like a dandelion seed drifts in the air. You can make a wish on me. Cowboys gotta be free. But oh, when I saw her face, I dropped the reins in a fumble, a stumble and tumble, a mumbling as I fell from grace. And now I'm wondering what hits me day after day when I'm all saddled up, but I can't ride away when she smiles at me. This old boy's finally free. But oh, when I saw her face, I dropped the reins in a fumble, stumbled and tumbled, mumbling as I fell from grace. And now I've no further need for my wandering days. I've abandoned all the rambling of my saddle tramp ways. When she smiles at me, this cowboy's finally free. When she smiles at me, this cowboy's finally free.
And Gary Allegretto will be putting on a harmonica workshop as part of the Kamloops Cowboy Festival, and if you take part in that, I do believe you will get a brand new Hohner harmonica. So that'll be something to check out when you get here. Now, back to Jean Prescott, and we talked about how so many Western music performers also have ranches, cattle, and horses at home, and that makes being on the road a real challenge, especially when you got cows that are calving. I remember the very first Kamloops Cowboy Festival. We had 7 calves born in a snowstorm the first night, and we were in town.
That happens a lot. I've got several good friends that make plans, or they're getting to where now they just don't make plans during that time of year. It's just a lot easier to just plan to be home and take care of business and then play a little bit later.
Yeah.
You know.
And yet the life is still the inspiration for the poems and the songs that come from something like that, and that's, I guess, why they mean so much.
Exactly. That, and what Gary and I do now, you know, we're playing the music and we're going out and trying to tell the stories about the people that are on the ranches today, because they're out there working, and you just don't see very many working cowboys and ranchers at these shows because they're taking care of what they take care of.
Yeah.
And that's probably as it should be. You know, we learn from them, and then it's up to us to carry their stories and things out to the nation.
I know, and I feel so strongly that the people in the urban centers, the major cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Kansas, Denver, Calgary, Edmonton, Seattle, places like this, we don't really, it's shocking sometimes when we realize the level of awareness they have about ranching, and they're so easily influenced by some of the media stories that come around, and the media isn't selective, and the media doesn't really discern the truth necessarily, as long as it makes good copy and it's a little confrontational or sensational. That's what they print. And the thing that I see happening, and thank goodness it is the music that you and Gary and so many of the people here, and the wonderful poetry carries this message in such a powerful way. Now what we got to do is find a way to have these people in these urban centers, you know, hear it and understand it.
That's exactly right, Hugh. It's what the ranchers, the lifestyle of the ranchers and the cowboys and the people that are keeping this country going with the livestock industry and all. It's not an easy thing, and if people in the cities and all want to really know, they need to go out and seek these people out and go spend some time on a real ranch somewhere and see what it's like, see what these people are up against before they make decisions and commitments to one side or the other. You know, there's all this taking sides for this and taking sides for that. I think it's very important that people check these things out and get out there and talk with ranchers and people that are living on the land and taking care of the land, and just see what that entails and how difficult that can be in this day.
Well, there's more from Jean Prescott just a little later, and Baxter Black is next when the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Howdy, friends. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan, and I'll be right back after this with a little peek at my kind of town. Are you worrying about your farm or ranch in the years to come? Illness, business, family fights over the land, who gets what? Will Uncle Sam be your largest heir? Talk to Lincoln Agribusiness Services. Mike McCormick and Scott Tyke help families deal with difficult life decisions that determine your future. Just think of them as a smart neighbor. Give them a call and find out for yourself. I did. Lincoln Agribusiness Services, 415-589-8479. I live in a small town by choice. Some would complain that it doesn't have a symphony or a shopping mall or a professional sports team, but it suits me. And if I was put on the spot to describe my kind of town, I guess it would be like this. It has no restaurant called Le Sans Souci. The local environmentalists are both ranchers. You give your phone number by using only the last 4 digits, 1349. Gas is at least 10 cents higher than the nearest town with a Walmart. The paper comes out once a week, and high school students sit at the post office and sell it on Wednesday mornings. You can see clear out of town both directions from the one stoplight. Soccer moms, t-ball moms, girls' basketball moms, etc., control the social activities of the community. The local radio station is 50 watts, covers 5 square miles, and has a real disc jockey. The feed store, the barber shop, and the coffee shop act as disseminators of early-breaking local news. You are noticed and missed when you don't make it to church. The mayor and the city officials control the real estate in town, but they are kept in line by local watchdogs who contribute a steady stream of letters to the editor regarding fishy political activities. The Grand Marshal for fabulous Butterfield Days Parade can shoe a horse and weld. One-stop shopping is available at the Vitamins Furniture and Gospel Store. The FFA is bigger than the football team. Kindergarten through 12 are all at the same school. The official city seal has a cow, a locomotive, and a box of dynamite. You can still get credit at the lumber store. And in my kind of town, people are just as busy, just as smart, and just as good-hearted as folks who live in towns big enough to have a restaurant called Les Sans-Souci. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan. Thanks for listening.
Mark your calendar for Ulrich Herfert's 13th Annual Bull Sale, Tuesday, February 26th at Baylog Auction, Lethbridge, Alberta. On offer, approximately 50 top-quality bulls. You can see them at ulrichherferts.com. These bulls are the sons of industry leaders. For more information, call Peter, 403-625-1036. That number again, 403-625-1036. Ulrich Hereford, specializing in light birth weights with great performance, plus remarkable cows. That's February 26th at Baylog Auction, Lethbridge, Alberta. How about a weekend pass to the 23rd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 14th to 17th, 2019. Just about the finest lineup of talent we've ever had. Michael Fleming.
On the back roads of Utah near the San Rafael, an old rough stock rider strides to the corral.
Jean Prescott.
Then he'd swing down from the saddle, and he'd take me in his arms.
Tim Huss.
The band's tuning up, and they're stocking the bar. Ranchers are coming from near and far.
Special guest, Lewis the Big Rig McIver, and so many more. The BC Cowboy Hall of Fame inductions, dinner shows, daytime entertainment, a spectacular art and gear show, workshops on everything from songwriting to saddle making. The best place to get all the information is bcchs.com. And to order tickets, call 1-888-763-2221. Just ahead of the Rangeland News, here's another guy I know will be well received at the Kamloops Cowboy Festival, cattle breeder, songwriter, fine singer Larry Krause.
The day has come to take some stock in the times that we've been through, the years we spent together and the way that we made do. Looking back, it's been as if that clock ain't even moved, but I still recall the vision I saw, thinking of you. I saw bright stars in the heavens, I saw rainbows in the sky, I seen wild horses running across the prairies, I saw the years flying by for you and I. This trail we ride ain't found the end and never did get that old map. The changes that we've been through have more than once switched our hat. But the good Lord has lit our way, good friends been by our side. But I still recall that vision as we continue on this ride. I saw bright stars in the heavens, I saw rainbows in the sky, I saw wild horses running across the prairies, I saw the years just flying by for you and I see bright stars in the heavens, I see rainbows in the sky, I see wild horses running across the prairie, I see the years just flying by for you and I see the years just flying by for you and I.
news of the rangeland, a roundup of news and coming events from around the West.
Top of page 1, it says, a great many of us grew up watching him in rodeos around the country, and he rode across the Great Divide on January the 18th. Bud Butterfield, born and raised near Ponoka, Alberta. Brian Butterfield was the first of the 3 Butterfield brothers to compete in rodeos, winning his first championship at the age of 19, and enticing his older brothers Bud and Tom to compete as well, and they all did just fine. Bud Butterfield holds the record for the most Canadian championships in steer wrestling, and that would be 6. He also won steer decorating and steer wrestling at the Calgary Stampede in 1956, 59, 62, and 63, a record that still stands. Bud and Tom were inducted into the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame in 2016, and all 3 brothers are members of the Canadian Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. So happy trails to Bud Butterfield. A Texas ranch founded in 1890 has been listed for sale for more than $30 million. That area, where the ranch is well known for its scenic views, where an all-star cast of Hollywood actors filmed the movie Giant. The Gearhart Ranch is located 30 miles west of Fort Davis, and it is on the market. The price, about $30,457,953. The filming location of the 56 movie classic Giant was pretty spectacular. Who starred in that movie? Oh my goodness. So let's listen to the theme song and maybe I'll remember.
This land is Texas, Lone Star State of Texas. This is the joy of
Oh yes, now I remember. The cast included Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, James Dean, Carol Baker, and Dennis Hopper, and it was filmed just 10 miles from the Gearhart Ranch. Well, a story in the Associated Press says that some cattle sales are stalled because checks from buyers require authorization from the Farm Service Agency in the U.S., and ranchers who have an FSA loan need an agent to co-sign the check before it can be cashed or deposited, and this is all because of that prolonged U.S. government shutdown. Laurie and Bernard Barnaud have been farming and ranching just east of Belle Fourche Reservoir since 1993. They were scheduled to drive to town and sell around 50 calves, and they still are required to pay off their 2018 operating loans before securing a new one for 2019, and those services aren't available during the shutdown. And folks in Belle Fourche and the surrounding area get to hear us every Sunday morning on KBFS. Well, our travel and appearance schedule is up on our website, hugh-mclennan.com, and as it says there, we're looking forward to being at the 19th Annual 100 Mile House Cowboy Concert, along with Jason Rosinski, and Tim Huss will be doing 2 shows, one at 2 p.m., one at 7 p.m., and then March the 8th, I'll have Mike and Jim, the famous Western Spirit Band, along to entertain at the annual Grand Prairie Farm Family Awards. For tickets, you can call 780-532-9727. Really looking forward to having fun there. And then we head back to Kamloops, of course, for the 23rd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 14th to 17th. And then April the 25th, it's our second cruise reunion celebration at the Westerner in Red Deer, Alberta, with a whole bunch of folks who've been cruising with us over the past and their friends and families. For information and to RRSVP, you can call 1-800-530-0131. That's in the Westerner the night before the big main event expo gets underway. I'll be there for the Trainers Challenge behind the mic again. All the information at maineventexpo.com. And then I'll have the Western Spirit Band along at the Stony Plain Cowboy Gathering, and that runs starting on August the 29th. And then September the 14th, it's the 17th Annual Spirit of the West Cruise to the British Isles and France. And we'll tell you more about that just a little bit later. Lots more coming up. We'll keep you posted. February the 11th is the next regular cattle sale at the Okanagan Falls Yards of BC Livestock Co-op, and then February 12th, the next regular sale at the Kamloops Yards. Lots of special sales coming up. Get the details at bclivestock.bca.ca. Meanwhile, at the Innisfail Auction Market, Saturday, February 16th at 1 p.m., it's the P&H Ranching Company and Circle G Simmental and Angus Bull and Ranch Horse Sale. Plus lots of pre-sort sales, and the next horse sale is February 23rd. All the details at InnisfailAuctionMarket.com. Whew, we're down to the final item here. And yeah, a few years ago, I had been away somewhere, either entertaining or speaking to a group. And when I got back, Billy was feeling pretty bad because she had left the gate open and some of the cows got into the hay shed. And I said, you don't need to feel that way about it. You should just try to embrace your mistakes. And so then she gave me a big hug. And that's the Rangeland News. Coming up in the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, I'll explain why I really don't want a horse that someone would call bomb-proof or super quiet. And there's more from Jean Prescott and more great music when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West, coming right up. The Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, where I'll try and explain why I really prefer not to have a horse that some folks would call bomb-proof. And we'll have more from Jean Prescott and another song I know you'll be able to relate to. But first, here's a question. So what are you doing from August 29th to September 13th, 2019? Well, Billy and I will be hosting our 18th annual Spirit of the West cruise, and here's where we'll be going. We'll fly to Dublin, Ireland. We'll be visiting an Irish thoroughbred breeding farm. We'll be hosted by the Irish Cattle Breeding Federation, and then we'll sail to some historic and beautiful places including Cork, Belfast, then Glasgow and Inverness, Scotland. And we might even get pictures of Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. And we'll have stops in Paris and London. Now, this is something we've always wanted to do, and we'd love to have you join us. Get all the information at 1-800-530-0131. And check our Spirit of the West cruise page at hugh-mclennan.com and our cruise Facebook page. Boy, it's sure going to be fun seeing so many folks who have been with us on the Spirit of the West cruises over the last 17 years, and we'll all be getting together at the Westerner in Red Deer the evening of April the 25th. And it's great to see that the fine horseman from Cardston, Alberta, Rod Olson, will be in the Trainers Challenge, along with Cade Mills at the main event, and the third name is still to come. Stay tuned.
Now it's time for the Horse Training File, brought to you by Irvine Tack and Western Wear, Canada's largest Western store.
All right, guys, if you really want to make her toes curl this Valentine's Day, get your cowgirl the gift she really wants at Urban Tack and Western Wear. Jewelry from Montana Silversmiths, handbags and accessories from American West and Ariat. Or how about new jeans and shirts or some beautiful boots? Yep, it's all where all the cowboy Cupids shop for Valentine's Day. Exit 305 off Highway 2 by Crossfield, or shop online at urbans.ca.
Don't just wear it, live it. Urban Tack and Western Wear.
Well, I don't know if there have ever been any credible surveys done, but I'm sure it's true that a large percentage of riders who are new to horses and don't have a lot of confidence. Now, many of them are searching for a totally quiet, broke-to-death, bomb-proof mount. And the fact is that that kind of horse just doesn't exist. One of my concerns is there are a lot of horses that have been desensitized to the point where they have shut down mentally. They have a dullness to them, and it's tough to even bring up the life in them. Now, some of these horses, I think, can be more dangerous than a horse that's energetic, sensitive, and alert. Now, back in the days when horses were the main mode of transportation on wagons, buggies, or under saddle, some of the worst wrecks and runaways involved horses that were normally dead quiet. When something really big happened, they suddenly came alive with more explosiveness than the horses who were more alert all the time. Personally, I'd rather ride a horse that has some survival instincts and might spook and jump sideways once in a while when he perceives something dangerous than a horse that won't react until the cow protecting her calf rams him in the shoulder. I want my horse to take care of both of us. For me, the ideal one is the kind that has lots of trust, lots of sensitivity and response, and is totally connected to me. And if he stops and snorts and blows when he perceives something scary on the trail, he'll still trust me enough to go on past it or up to it if I show him that I'm serious, I'm the leader, and it's okay. I think that if a rider's looking for every ride to be perfect, flawless, totally under control, totally relaxed, and never have an anxious moment, well, that's not likely to happen. That rider might be better off on a mountain bike. And for Irvin Saddles and Western Wear, that's the Horse Training File. Boy, our horses do well on that daily feeding of Hoffman's Horse Ration. You can find out all about it at hoffmanshorseration.com.
You're invited to the 38th Annual Select Charolais Bull Sale, March 1st at the Innisfail Auction Market. 115 Charolais bulls, 2-year-olds and yearlings. Horn, polled, whites, and tans. High-performance, top-quality Charolais bulls. The Marshalls and Shuttleworths look forward to seeing you Friday, March 1st at Innisfail. View the catalog online at www.futurefarms.ca or call Daryl or Alan, come for a coffee and look at the bulls.
Guess what happens Thursday, March the 14th at 7 a.m.? A bunch of happy Westerners will board a Frontier Bus Lines luxury coach in Red Deer, Alberta, heading for the 23rd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival. Luxury motor coach transportation, 4 nights accommodation at the Coast Hotel and Conference Center, daily breakfast, Thursday evening dinner and dance, weekend pass to the Cowboy Festival, and 3 nights of dinner theater entertainment. What a great way to take in this best display of cowboy culture, Western history, and live entertainment in all the West. Just call Frontier Bus Lines, 1-888-LET'S-BUS. That's 1-888-538-7287. One of the first songs we ever heard Ben Crane sing really struck a chord with us. I think it was probably B-flat. No, just kidding, Ben. Really, it's a beautiful story written by Vern Ballantyne. Sam and Katie.
He never dreamed he would get very old back when he was young. Folks never thought he'd amount to much, but just look at the things he has done. He rode for some good ones and some bad, but he made 'em a hand when he came. He never was much of a drifter, but he got around some just the same. From Alberta to Nevada to Alpine, then out west and up north again. Well, his heart, it wandered like water, seeking some ground it could claim. When he found it, her name was Kathleen, and not 10 miles from where he had grown, they met and were married that summer, and they started a place of their own, with some land that his grandpa had left them, and some cows they had bought from her dad. At first it was drought and low prices, but later it wasn't so bad. Before long there came the first baby, and the rain and the market stayed fair. They were blessed with such peace and joy, they felt they had more than their share. Oh, I guess that they had them some hard times, but it was nothing that they couldn't stand, because back before they'd been married, they laid it all in the Lord's hands. But too soon the kids grew and left them, and they were back on their own. Now it's been 10 long and lonely years since the Lord has called Katie home. Oh, he still takes pleasure from riding, though it's not quite the same as before. He has to admit as he's working, he thinks of heaven more. So that night he goes to their poplar to watch the evening star. What's that, a light on the skyline? He's never seen that before. Oh, it's white and it's bright and it's growing, and he sees that it's coming his way. And just as the life leaves his body, he knows he'll see Katie today. The kids gather up on the hilltop around a second headstone, safe and secure in the knowledge old Sam and Katie are home. He never dreamed he would get very old back when he was young. Folks never thought he'd amount to much, but just look at the things he has done.
A little while ago, you heard Jean Prescott talk about the challenges of ranch life, and in that conversation, we also talked about the rewards.
There is, of course, the real rich positive side of it, and that is the deep soul satisfaction that comes from a day on horseback in beautiful country with good cattle, and you don't have a plan or an agenda, and you don't, Murphy's Law, I think, was written for cowboys, but you put 3 or 4 days together where your horse understands, he's working better, you get the job done because you understand the ways of cattle, and ultimately you're feeding the world by doing this, you know, and there's that deep satisfaction, and that's what keeps us doing it. There is there's such a positive side to it too.
That's exactly right. If you want to lower your stress level from your day-to-day 8-to-5 rat race kind of thing, find a place to do something like that and get out there and just be in America and in Canada and in the country and be part of nature in the real sense, and be out among the cattle and the horses and the land and smell the smells and hear the sounds and experience that and really soak some of it up and see how it makes you feel.
Yeah, that's a great note to sort of wrap this up on, when Jeannie, and lots to think about, and
exactly.
Love hearing that beautiful music, and I hope you never stop.
Well, thank you, Hugh.
I know you'll enjoy Jean at the Cowboy Festival. Now, still to come, our classic Song of the West and the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight, when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. I found another classic Song of the West for this segment, and I really can't find out much about the song. Can't find out who wrote it or where it came from. But I know a bit about the singer. It's Jill Jones from Texas, along with her group, the Hayes County Gals. Now, Jill has been around horses most of her life. She's a fine rider and competitor, and the Hayes County Gals were named Country Group of the Year by the Academy of Western Artists in 1996. Jill's a great guitar player and writes some good songs, too. Now, this song sounds so familiar, it's kind of frustrating that I can't come up with any more about it. Hope you enjoy it. Jill Jones and Cattle Drive.
Well, I chose to roam far from my home back when I was 17. Well, I had to see what I could be. I was young and raw and lean. So I rode one day down Texas way to the banks of the Rio Grande, and a hand I made at the cowboy trade in the big wide lonesome land. Well, I traded the longhorn cattle, that's the only life for me, and I'm free as the wild wind, and the cowboy's all I'll be. So we rode for days through the long horse trades till we had 3,000 shout, let's move 'em out. Take this beef to the Kansas rail. So we aimed up north to venture forth on my ride up the Chisholm Trail. Well, I trail the longhorn cattle, that's the only life for me. And I'm free as the wild wind and the cowboy's all I'll be. Oh, the rain was rough, yeah, the work was tough, and I earned about the day. But I baked 10 for I, Lord, it was dry. Why did I live that way? I swam the flood, I bogged down in mud, I met the cold with the dust and hail. I took a cowboy life with my Barlow knife on my ride up the Chisholm Trail. Well, I trail the longhorn cattle, that's the only life for me. And I'm free as the wild wind and the cowboy's all I'll be. I'm on the prowl and I'm gonna howl when I ride into Abilene town. I'm gonna find me a girl and give her a whirl and dance around and round. But her heart will cry when I say goodbye, just to ride back to San Antonio. If you can't have no wife in a cowboy life, I'll always live alone. So I trail the longhorn cattle, that's the only life for me. But I'm free as the wild wind and a cowboy's all I'll be.
How about a weekend pass to the 23rd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 14th to 17th, 2019. Just about the finest lineup of talent we've ever had. Michael Fleming.
On the back roads of Utah near the San Rafael, an old rough stock rider strides to the corral.
Jean Prescott.
Then he'd swing down from the saddle, and he'd take me in his arms.
Tim Huss.
The band's tuning up and they're stocking the bar. Ranchers are coming from near and far.
Special guest Lewis the Big Rig McIver, and so many more. The BC Cowboy Hall of Fame inductions, dinner shows, daytime entertainment, a spectacular art and gear show, workshops on everything from songwriting to saddle making. The best place to get all the information is bcchs.com. And to order tickets, call 1-888-763-2221. There seems to be a pattern that the very best Western music performers and cowboy poets travel in the late winter and early spring. A lot of them attend the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering at the National Folklife Center in Elko, Nevada, and then they go on down to the Texas Cowboy Fest Cowboy Gathering in Alpine. That's February 22nd and 23rd. And then a lot of them make it up to the Kamloops Cowboy Festival. And that seems to be a developing circuit for the very best. Now, Tom Swearington will be making his first appearance here in March, and I sure hope I can sit down and record an interview with him during the time he's here. I'll tell you why. You see, I've had several good Appaloosa horses in my time. And I've taken a fair bit of ribbon from the folks I've ridden with. But I think actually when they saw how good my Appies were, they were jealous. And apparently Tom likes Appies, as you'll hear in this week's Cowboy Poetry Spotlight.
Half ounce of my direction, half a ton of equine force, in spot-on perfect balance, Man, I love this appy horse. Half a ton up and let's go. Coiled about to bolt without a lick of warning, could explode like unbroke colt. But there's also half a ton of deep trust and want and try that holds him here beneath me and controls his urge to fly. What happens in this saddle is a magical display of poetry in motion, Appaloosa horse ballet. Half a ton of pure excitement, bridled by light touch of rein, responds to my intention, gives me feet and speed and brain. Half ounce of my direction, half a ton of equine force, in spot-on perfect balance. Man, I love this appy horse.
Well, thanks again for making the ride this week, and I sure hope you can join us right here next week at the same time. And as always, thanks to our great support crew, Mark and Kathy McMillan. And remember, if you are looking for tractor parts, any make, any year, just see Mark's page, bctractorparts.com. And for you folks in the Kamloops region hearing us on Facebook or YouTube or Windows Media Player, you know, we are on the air each Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in Kamloops on CFBX 92.5 FM. So just tune in Sunday mornings at 8, CFBX, that's 92.5 FM. And there's great reading in every issue of Canadian Cowboy Country Magazine. You can subscribe by calling 1-800-943-7336. Till next week, I'm Hugh McLennan. Hope to see you down the trail somewhere real soon.